Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. And the Idolmaster collab has begun, so it's time to showcase the new units. First off is the new summonable battle unit, Mirai Kasuga. Pretty sure that's how you say her name. She is a mythical Earth unit. Unfortunate that she's a collab unit, which means that once she's gone, she's pretty much never coming back, which means that essentially we are still short by like 10 units between Earth and Light now that we have our free-to-play Tsubasa, who I guess also wouldn't really count. So we're still 9 units shy. There's 9 less units of Earth than there are friggin' Light units, and it's just hilarious. She also doesn't use an Earth Spear, so let the meme continue. She has magic. She's on the new Pretty Sparkle category, along with Goddess of Destiny and Commander. Commander doesn't yet have a leader. Goddess of Destiny definitely does, and you know she is a green-focused unit, so we'll put her on the Goddess of Destiny team and see how well she works. But she has her own free gear from the actual beatdown battle, so please don't make new gear for her. Don't make an Earth Hammer. You can get it from just beating the lower tiered stages of beatdown right here. So we get the 2 mics and the 2 jackets so you can awaken it. It goes up to extreme, so they cut down the difficulty a bit so we can get the collab gear. Fine. If you're wondering where the Tsubasa, the free-to-play unit dupes are coming in, they are now from login, so just keep that in mind. But Mirai's kit is interesting. I still see people are confused about how this live mode works, so we will explain it and then we will show it in practice. But she's a single target, Earth Magic, 490%, no additional effect. Battle skill, so just delete. We'll just cut it right there. Initiates live mode for green orbs for 1 turn. All right, so that's part 1 of her skill, live mode. Cool. Second part of her skill is green orbs get a 50% gauge increase for 1 turn. These are separate effects. Live mode does not give you 50% extra alt gauge. It just initiates this live mode right here. Increases all allies' attack by 2% until the end of battle based on the number of souls used, which equates to number of green orbs used on the turn. And we will show that because we will attempt to use orange and blues, and I will show you and prove to you that it does not work. So, all green orbs will generically get a 50% alt gauge increase by 50%. Cool. Live mode will only apply to greens, and they will give you a permanent 2% stack of attack on Mirai and all the other units till the end of battle. So you can, in theory, stack 12% full attack every single turn if you can continuously send 12 green orbs and have this skill active. Her second skill is a future hand of greens, just like Bride Soka. Unfortunately, I don't know how effective the skill is right now, because I've rarely ever used Bride Soka's future orb hand. She also does give greens an extra 25% damage buff, so cool, alongside the stacking attack. This is fine. Her Valor trait nerfs oranges, doesn't matter. Her actual trait gives you protection gauge every 2 turns, which is a very good trait. And if you happen to pull Mirai, then you will automatically get at least the first level of her trait, because they're giving us a free dupe of her in a character introduction quest right here. So it's like a 3-turn limit. You sit there and you just tank, and then you get a free dupe. So she can, if you pull Mirai, you can get her to 104 immediately and get a little bit of protection gauge on turn 2, 4, 6, blah, 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 blah. So, apart from that, I mean, everything else, she is getting synergy power from her EX board with Tsubasa, who is the free-to-play, the blonde girl. This really says something about what the black-haired girl Shizuka is going to do, because right now, there's no one that's going to give Mirai synergy rate, right? It's only Lumi. So, synergy power requires synergy rate, and if there's no one to give synergy rate now, we can pretty much assume that the other girl is going to give synergy rate, either to just the Pretty Sparkle category, or a more generic kind of everybody gets it. We'll have to wait and see. Should comes out in a week or so. But let's go in and test out and show you guys how exactly this live mode skill works. Alright, so this is the first team we're going to showcase her on. We've got the new Rimuru, we've got Earth Protector Benimaru because Mirai is magic and Earth, so he's giving, the full buff. We've got Dark Milim for the orb change and the alt buff, which in the later stages of Beatdown you can't actually use. We've got EX Rain for her green buff, and then we've got Octogram Lumi for the permanent stacks of alt damage. We're also using Lumi and Soe to give us the extra skill points, which will allow us to use both the Orb Change turn 1, because it is a special convert, and also the Rain buff to give greens a massive buff. And then Mirai's here, and then the new free-to-play Tsubasa is here, who I do want to make a correction to my initial translation video yesterday. This skill, where it says increases by 10% based on the number of times all allies receive secret skill attack, so her buff starts at 10%, and it goes up by 10 to a max of 60. And that is when you take an alt from an enemy, not when you use an alt or when you give yourself an alt buff. The enemy has to alt you for this to go up by 10%, up to 60%. So you have to be alted 5 times. You have to actually take an alt to the face 5 times for this to max out. So that's a little correction I have to make. But let's go ahead and test her out. This team, has 1 orb changer, 2 orb changer. We have the feature hand of greens. We have Rimuru, who's giving us a feature hand of, or not a feature hand, but a 3-3 orb change. So do we really need the feature hand? I don't know. Let's find out. All right, so starting out, we have the special convert. We got 42 points, so let's use the convert here. Let's use the green buff, and then that'll give us an extra 50% all gauge increase to greens, and then we'll bring Mirai in for rain. So Mirai plus that Earth 2.0 Murin both have turn 2 protection gauge traits. Valentine has protection gauge for the first 3 turns, so which is why we're starting out a little bit. And then Milim gives us skill points on turn 2, which doesn't matter, so we're going to get her out of here. And then Tsubasa has Blanc underneath her, and she's also giving turn 2 protection gauge. So we'll actually get quite a bit of protection gauge next turn from all 3 of these units in some way, shape, or form. So 12,500 damage right there. It's pretty good. Guard that. Okay. Here's an alt, so we're going to take this, and that's going to actually buff up Tsubasa's attack by 10%. So we can check that out real fast. And we'll just show that. So now it's up to 20 because it starts at 10, right? So good. He's going to alt us again, so next turn this will be 30%. However, here is the first science test, right? Her live mode. Initiates live mode. Green alt gauge increase by 50%, and then live mode, all eyes attack plus 2%. The first thing to take note of for this skill is that the 2% attack buff happens before you send the orbs. So it's calculated based on the number of greens that you will send, and then it'll add the 4% attack, and then you will attack. So in a best case scenario, when you're ready to nuke for any reason, it's better to send the alts first than the greens, even though it doesn't really matter, because the alt will be calculated with the extra stacks of attack you get from the greens. So, I mean, it just happens before you attack, which is good to know, because it'd be really unfortunate if you didn't get the stacks until afterwards, so it's the next turn that would actually benefit. No, it's an immediate benefit, but we can showcase right here. If we hit live mode, only the green orbs get the special little musical notes, right? So now, live mode increases attack by 2% until the end of battle based on the number of souls used, alright? Here's the alt gauge increase by 50%, that's also from that skill, but you can see the oranges and blues do not have the live mode, they do not have the extra 2% damage increase, so it only applies to green orbs. Thank you. Are we done explaining this yet? Alright, so we have skill points increased by 5%. That's from Dark Milim. We have the gauge increased by 50%. That's from EX Rain. We have the live mode buff, and we have the alt gauge increase, which are both coming from Mirai's kit right here. So we could send 2 greens, and we would buff our attack by 4%, because right now we are sitting at a nice 20% attack right here. But we're going to use Rimuru, because he's going to give us a full hand of greens, and yeah, sure, we'll watch it. Why not? We cannot play music. cannot, I mean, I normally don't play like the in-game music and stuff, but here we definitely cannot because these songs are copyrighted, and I will get copyright claimed if I play them in-game. So, sorry, you don't get to listen to Brand New Theater or whatever song that Mirai plays when she nukes. Alright, so now you can see all the green orbs have the live mode, have the extra 2% increase. Holy crap. Now, because we're going to send, multiple greens, let's go ahead and get an alt buff in here for funsies. And let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, look how much alt gauge we're getting. We are using the green protection gauge, 40% right here. So we're getting quite a bit. So we don't really need to use the future orb hand, but I guess we can just for funsy onesies. So now the next incoming turn, all of these orbs will be green except for the 3 alts we're going to get because we have a 2-2-2 spread. So we'll have 3 guaranteed greens, I guess. So there we go. Now you see attack increased right there before we start sending the orbs. So we got that extra 12% attack before we started attacking. So that's very good to know. Very good to note. So that's the 3 alts right here, plus the guaranteed 3 greens. Here's another alt. Now we are invincible. We take no damage except for Lumi, because Lumi is not on Pretty Sparkle. So if he had alted Lumi, we would have taken that alt damage. But to the 2 girls up here, doesn't matter. They're invincible. So now we have this. Live mode is done. And now, because we sent 6 green orbs last turn, we have a 12% attack increase. So instead of 20, it's now 32. And here, if we were to swap all these characters out, I wonder if that live mode carries over to the back. Let's find out. So we will use it again. And we will use another level of alt buff just for funsies. And then we're going to get everybody out of here. Everybody, get out. I don't want to see you anymore. Well, except for Lumi, because we had to keep her up front. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. The invincibility does not apply to anybody except Dark Millum because she is on Pretty Sparkle, and Lumi and Rain are not. Let's turn that off now. Okay, so let's send these. Now, again, we are getting the 2% attack per green orb used, but we're only sending 5 now, so we're only going to get a 10% buff. Millum has 20%. Okay, so it does not apply to units in the back. Alright. So when we bring Mirai up front next turn, she's still going to be at 32% attack, because she was not up front to get the extra attack buff from the green orbs. Alright, well that's some science right there. I didn't even know that. Okay. So, let's bring it up front. So Rain comes up. Mirai comes up for Lumi, and she should still have 32%. Indeed she does. Okay, so the live mode buff only applies to units that are up front when sending the green orbs. Okay, good to know. It also does not apply to alt orbs. However, I did see on Twitter, or Discord, one of the two, that the live mode does apply to the rainbow unity orbs that the Visions of Coleus Rimuru makes. So, because it's classified as every type of orb, right? It does get the live mode effect buff, which Rimuru is a blue orb changer, technically, so he's not really the best unit for this team. But you could put him on here and make him work, since Rimuru would hopefully change a lot of those. But yeah, well, we'll have to see. Well, maybe we'll try it out on a fun run here in a little bit. But now, Tsubasa, this is up to 30%, right? Because she took another alt. This is another alt, so next turn will be 40%. Let's go ahead and just send these Mirai orbs. We'll try and get her EX alt. Try being the keyword. Alright, so 1,096 damage. Not great as far as him doing it. Let's get you out of here. Let's get you out of here. Alright, so now that skill's up to 40%, right? So we need to take 2 more alts before it caps out, which he's not alting this turn. So you know what? Yeah, let's go ahead and alt buff again. So that's, I think, 60% permanent buff now. Yeah, so we need 1 more stack of that. Let's get Rimuru for the orb change and the invincibility for Mirai. And we'll wait on the live mode right now, because we don't have any orbs for her, and whatever. But also keep note that Rimuru is permanently stacking 12% magic attack on everybody up front when we use him. So Mirai, on top of having the live mode little inconsequential buffs right here, she's also getting extra magic attack, which she started at 5%. So we've gotten up a little bit, right? We've gotten 2 stacks of it. So, I mean, it's not insignificant that we're double stacking. It's just not very fast, because the live mode is not a skill you use every turn because it costs, you know, more and more points, even though Rimuru is resetting it slowly but surely. It's not the greatest thing in the world, but it is something you can do. Let's just get this final stack in, because it's not like we're really hurting on points. Let's get the green buff as well. And then I think we're going to send the Lumi ult as well. I don't think it's going to kill him. I really hope it doesn't kill him, because we're just not getting orbs from Mirai at all. Okay, 46k, 20k right there. All right, he can live like one more turn, so we can get the EX ult, hopefully. Well, maybe. She actually has to use some orbs here first. Let's get another 12% in, change all those to greens, and live mode again. So this is another 8% attack. Please don't kill him. Please don't kill him. Don't kill him. He's dead. Damn it. All right, well, hold on. We'll come back with the EX ult. Okay, so we have a perfect hand right here to showcase this. So we're going to take Mirai out after using her live mode here. And you see that the greens, they have it. The blues do not. All right, cool. We're going to bring Visions of Coleus Rimuru in. We're going to change the now Rimuru orbs to blue for funsies. So now they don't have the live mode, which leaves the one green orb here. Now we're going to use the rainbow, the unity orb. And then, boom, the rainbow orbs have the live mode effect. If you click on the rainbow orbs, it does have the 2% attack gain based on the number of souls used. So, I mean, you can put him on the team, technically, for a massive point and protection gauge and alt gauge increase. Greens, I think, don't hurt as much as, you know, blues do in terms of alt gauge and oranges do for protection. But, I mean, if you have Visions of Coleus Rimuru and you don't have really another good option for this team if you happen to pull, then, I mean, you can. You can only use it once, but, you know, it is what it is. But at least there's the example. Like, now we have the EX ult for Tsubasa if she was able to use an EX ult, but she's not, so... Okay, we are back. We're on turn 8 now. So we have the EX ult from Mirai. We've been stacking constantly. We brought the Hero 2.0 in for the alt swap ability, and we're going to use her resistance down, which, I mean, will help our damage a bit. I'm really hoping that Shizuka also has an alt swap, at least like a double. Maybe she could have a single at 0 cost as well, like the Hero 2.0 does, but oh well. So we're going to use the resistance down, the orb damage up. The alts already have the permanent 80% buff from Lumi, so we're covered there. We'll bring Rain in for the hero, and then we will use the... Actually, we'll bring Tsubasa in for Lumi as well. There we go. Okay, so now we'll use the attack buff, which is maxed out at 60%. We'll use the magic buff here, and that's pretty much all we have to use, so... We'll see how much damage but Mirai is able to do. We can't use the live mode again, unfortunately, because Tsubasa costs 30 points. But Mirai, with the 80% alt damage, plus 56 attack buff, plus 65% magic attack, plus 60% attack, plus 20% magic, plus all the resistances, she's going to do probably decent damage here. So let's see how much a 200% orb does, and then her alt. So, this does 60k, somewhere around there. Ooh, 136, much better. Jesus Christ. 590,000 damage. That's acceptable. I mean, it's acceptable for a team that has a bunch of low-cost skills that has not been stacking, like, oogie-boogie amounts of buffs, right? Because, you know, we have been stacking, and you would think that, you know, in 8 turns, we could make Jean do, like, 8 million damage, right? Mirai is not doing 8 million damage. in the same amount of turns, but we don't have the same equal level of buffs either. We have a lot of very short, small term buffs that are going to help us deal a lot of burst damage while also staying alive. So in that aspect, it's not bad. It's just maybe, not as much as people would want. The invincibility, I think, is a gimmick that's not going to see a lot of use, because the Pretty Sparkle Force is just not that great overall. Certainly there are other ways you could get the damage up. Like, we could have brought the second anniversary Hinata for the 50%, I guess, Earth attack. Well, that would be, and I mean, you could do something with that. I mean, technically her defense stat, well, with Mirren attached to her, is higher than her attack. So you could put Mirren on the team for the stat swap and the Earth damage. Like, you could. It'd still take 10 turns to get through it, but it's a possibility if you give her another unit that has high defense. Yeah. Okay, let's see if there's something else I can do. Alright, I thought about doing like another showcase part of this for the video, but I figured it'd be too long. I think this is a good initial look at her on her own team. I know it's just like very, very small, minor team changes, but you get the idea of how she's supposed to work, right? You're permanently stacking attack alongside Reamer's permanent attack. You're giving yourself the live mode and the future hand of greens. It is essentially what Soko is doing, but maybe in a slightly better or slightly worse kind of term, if depending on how you want to look at it. Definitely interesting. I don't think she's the greatest thing to come out since sliced bread, but she's fun to use. So I will definitely do a part 2 video for her, using her on different teams rather than just this one team, and to showcase, like, we'll put her on the Goddess of Destiny team, we'll put her on like a cabbie team and get her a lot of stacks, and we'll see how well that goes. But I think apart from that, I think we're gonna call it a day. Let me know what you guys think from this initial showcase of Mirai. Do you think she's good? Do you think she's awful? Do you think she's just kind of like there? I kind of think she's just there, but again, that's my opinion. Let me know what you guys think. But that's it for me, guys. Take it easy, and I'll see you all later.